I'm Dr. Jordin Wiggins, and this is the Pleasure Principles podcast. Join me on this journey where sex, science, and sensuality meet. Let's change the conversation around sex and pleasure together. Welcome to episode 2 of the Superwoman series. In today's episode, we are going to get into more specifics about how being a superwoman is affecting your sex life and impacting your health. In episode 1 of this series, we talked about how superwoman conditioning is getting in the way of sex, connection, and intimacy you want. We talk a little bit about our conditioning and the way we were raised, how it got us to this point. If you have it together on the outside, if you have the career success and something is missing, you're just not as happy as you think you should be, you know something is off, maybe your relationship's on the rocks and needs a little TLC, I highly recommend you go back and listen to part 1 of this series before listening to this one. Let's dive into how being a superwoman is impacting your sex life. Number 1, desires. You don't know what you want. You are so used to caring for others that you have lost sight of your own needs. Maybe you never knew them. Generally speaking, you're disconnected from your desires and the things that bring you joy, make you happy, make you feel good. When I ask a superwoman, what do you want? What do you desire? What turns you on in bed? She gives me a blank stare or bursts into tears. And this is thousands of women I've seen this with. Our desires have been buried so deep for years under conditioning about being a good girl or wife, of taking care of others, of people pleasing, that you might not even feel like you have any. You don't even know what desiring feels like. So your body shuts down when you're asked what you want for dinner, trying to order off a menu. When you're asked what you want in the bedroom, maybe you don't know, you go blank, you freeze. Maybe you desire the piece of chocolate cake, but you've been told your whole life that you should want a salad. Maybe you desire a nap and a good book, but you've been told that you need to desire a high intensity workout. How can you show up in the bedroom and know exactly what you want? You have absolutely no roadmap to guide you. Our lives revolve around restrictions, around overworking, around prioritizing getting things done instead of feeling good. What if our lives revolved around desires? Because your desires are there. And when you learn to get in touch with them, your whole life is going to change in and out of the bedroom. The second way that being a superwoman is impacting your sex life, you are overwhelmed. You are working yourself way over hours for no extra pay. You're constantly overscheduled and overcommitting. If your friend asks you to hang out, you're like, yep, I got time to do that in 3 to 4 weeks. You're so outward focused that you are not truly present in the moment. How can you expect your tired brain and body to want to be in the mood when you're so overwhelmed? Of course you're not. Like I mentioned in episode 1, if you want to get more into the physiology of why this is happening to your body and how being in a stress response, a sympathetic nervous system state, actually shuts down your ability to receive pleasure, you're going to want to check out my book, The Pink Canary. Third reason why being a superwoman is impacting your sex life: people pleasing. Our superwoman conditioning tells us I have to keep everyone happy at all times so they continue to like me. They continue to give me the validation that I am worthy. So people pleasing in the bedroom looks like having sex out of obligation because your partner wants to, wanting something and not really knowing how to ask for it. So you just default to the position, the frequency that your partner wants. You're constantly thinking like, oh, does this feel good for them? You're constantly giving, 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 never dropping into receiving and having pleasure that is just for you and all about you. I have conversations about couples that have sex somewhat often, and they still say like, how do I teach my husband how to find the clit? Or how do I teach him how to please me? Or I don't even know where to start. So with people pleasing, we are constantly, again, we have that outward focus and we are worried about our partner. Sometimes we're even just trying to get a sexual encounter over with. We're counting down the minutes. And the thing is that what we are seeking by people pleasing, that validation, it's already inside of us. It's already a part of us. So why as Superwomen do we constantly outsource it to other people? We're constantly looking for that approval from our boss, from our kids, from our husbands. Number 4, overthinking. This goes hand in hand with everything that I've been talking about. It can show up as feeling insecure, ruminating thoughts, worrying, waking up in the middle of the night and worrying. Where are all my perimenopausal and menopausal women at, or entrepreneurs? Because I feel like anytime I start a new project or business venture, I have those issues with my hormones and stress response as well. So we're planners. We're one step ahead of everyone and everything at all times. But once again, it leads to not being able to be present in the moment. And then we expect it to magically turn off in the bedroom when we want it to. But that's not going to happen. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And you're overthinking, you're planning ahead, you're thinking 10 steps ahead for someone else is stopping you from being present enough to receive maximal pleasure. This is physiologic. You can't argue with me on this one. Number 5 reason why being a superwoman is affecting the sex that you're having. Good sex requires you to be a little selfish at times, and that requires you to be able to focus on yourself. If you're always focused on everyone else, that's not going to change in the bedroom. If you think of others before you make every decision, maybe you change the time of an event to try and accommodate as many people as you can. I'm guilty of this all the time in my business. Not doing it for the time, a free event, like a literal free event. I'm constantly thinking about, oh, well, when can the most women make it? And like my ladies in Australia and East Coast, West Coast. And I'm not thinking about what works for me and my family. I'm thinking about what works for everyone else. Maybe you hesitate to pick a restaurant or a movie because you don't want to disappoint someone else. In the bedroom, that might look like worrying about how your skin is folding in a certain position, how you smell, if you're doing it right, if your partner's liking it, how much fun are they having? Is this like, are you still giving them the best sex? None of that is an inward focus. None of that is a focus on your experience of your own pleasure in the moment. So of course you don't want to keep having sex like that. Sounds exhausting. Number 6, hyper independence. Superwomen can fall into a pattern of hyper independence. Let me do that. I can do it better anyways. We often joke about how we handle the laundry and loading the dishwasher in our relationships can be pretty indicative of the sex that we're having. We push people away with our hyper independence, our ability to get everything done. And yeah, I don't deny you. You probably are better at it and have thought so far ahead and of all the angles. But the message that it sends to our family, our children, our partners, our coworkers is that we are so independent. We can't ask for help. And it's like, I don't need you and I don't trust you. We're protecting ourselves so that no one can let us down. Your husband can't disappoint you when you come home and the tasks you ask him to do aren't complete if you just did it yourself. And the thing is that when you just do it yourself, they stop helping. They stop offering to help. But now you've created a classic pattern of where you overfunction and the people around you get to underfunction. And now the playing field isn't level anymore. You start to feel like you're taking care of the people around you. You become this pseudo caregiver. Then bring on the resentment, the annoyance, the one little thing sets you off. So who's having sex when they feel like that? No one. Or very, very obligatory sex. Number 7, this conditioning has been passed down for generations. It is so normalized, we don't even realize that it's there, that there is anything wrong with it. And we don't realize the damage living this way is doing to our brains, our bodies, our relationships. Our moms did it, our grandmas did it, our friends are doing it. But what if we learned to stop looking outward for our worth and learned instead to listen and trust our own divine inner knowing? The ladies from the Pleasure Collective will know we call this the pink brain and your body like a car. The understanding that we deserve love and rest whenever the hell we want it, not because we earned it, to when we can receive that pleasure, that feeling safe and at peace. Next, these sex feels are your gas pedal, things that accelerate us towards when intimacy. We start taking care of it. Then there are things that slam on the brakes. Stress, a messy kitchen, a difficult day at work, kids' behavior. That is resentment for your partner. A woman is impacting and keep you from getting to the right headspace where you feel safe, calm, and open to desire and pleasure. It's a system that works together. You need to make time and space to take your foot off the brake if you are ever going to get anywhere. Think of your day-to-day. How many more breaks do we have than things that will accelerate us towards intimacy? Do you wake up in the middle of the night anxious and sweaty, not getting enough sleep? Huge break. Are you exhausted in the morning and evening? Big breaks. Are you not eating well because you're reaching for the sugar, you're reaching for the caffeine to get you through your day, which is going to disturb your hormone balance and your cortisol even more? More breaks. If you are overscheduled, running around, every minute of your day is accounted for, breaks. Working at a job you don't like, break. Difficult relationship with your parents, maybe you're a caregiver for your parents, break. Even if you have a great relationship with your partner, you are good teammates, but there is still something missing and you can't figure it out, just that, break. This constant state of stress most of us are living in is impacting every cell of your body. And we wonder why we don't feel like having sex. We're faced with these chronic stressors every single day. Our cortisol, the hormone that is released in response to stress, is working overtime. Cortisol has several functions, but important to this discussion is its role in the stress response. In a healthy person, cortisol rises within 30 minutes of waking up in the morning and decreases throughout the day. And this is great for when we have acute stressors. We need to be able to jump out of the way of a car about to hit us. But the problem in today's society is that our nervous systems stay in that state all the time. So we can't tell the difference between a car that we need to jump out of the way of or a request that our partner has made that is super, super irritating. People under chronic stress experience changes in cortisol production, and it can remain high throughout the day. We can have spikes and big dips. Chronic stress can even flatten our cortisol response. And when this happens, cortisol levels don't rise when we need them to and don't return to normal. People can stay in fight or flight. When your body stays in fight or flight, you may experience irritability or anger, sadness, no motivation, fatigue, anxiety. I am testing this stress response for women that work with me in my medical practice. We will link in the show notes for, if you live in Ontario, how you can work with me. I'm taking 10 new women in August and September for my medical practice. So you're going to want to jump on those spots because they will fill up quickly. When your body is in the fight or flight state, you do not feel safe in your body or your environment. You cannot have good sex. You cannot truly experience pleasure. The pleasure centers in your brain are shut down. You cannot truly feel connected and intimate when you do not feel safe, when you are in fight or flight. And the rest of your body reacts to this constant fight or flight response as well. You cannot digest properly. Your immune system becomes compromised. Your body stores fat and your memory becomes foggy. You are fighting an uphill battle against your brain, your body, and your hormones until you learn to restructure the way you think and make pleasure a priority. Our life stressors activate our sympathetic nervous system. We are faced with these spikes in our sympathetic nervous system daily as superwomen. In this acute stress state, the body undergoes many biochemical and hormonal changes. These include adrenaline and cortisol being released into the bloodstream, which causes you to experience an increase in blood pressure, heart rate, breathing rate. Kind of sounds a lot like sex, doesn't it? When the sympathetic nervous system is triggered, it suppresses digestive and immune function because the body chooses survival in the face of a real or perceived threat over digestion, over immune function, over properly making hormones. So the activation of the sympathetic nervous system is a huge break. How do we counteract it? We need to be in a parasympathetic state to even think about stepping on the gas. The parasympathetic nervous system balances the sympathetic nervous system. PNS is referred to as the rest and digest, and I would add sex system. We need to take a step back and stop living so much of our lives in the sympathetic arousal state and start carving out more time to be in the calming, rest, digest, sex state. When we can feel calm, we can feel relaxed, we digest properly, it supports our immune system, our hormones conjugate properly. We can get aroused in this state. We can apply more pressure to our gas pedal, to our advancing the desire, not being like annoyed or shut down by our partners. And when we are in this state, we can get the most out of our lives. We radiate, we attract. People love to give us things, promotions, more money, houses. The ladies in the feminine mentorship will get that one. That's an inside joke. And if you want to learn how to be gifted a house, then join the feminine mentorship, because we work on becoming the type of women that people love to give things to. It feels like sunshine when you're around these kind of women. The changes that occur in our bodies when we are under constant perceived stress wreaks havoc across every system in our body. Chronic stress doesn't just mean you're stressed, it means a whole host of other problems: burnout, adrenal fatigue, hormone imbalance, and of course, low libido. If you want more details on how this all works, if you are a sciencey person, check out my book, The Pink Canary. I have worked with thousands of women in my medical practice to help deal with the cellular side of these problems. And we mentioned the link below if you want to see what that looks like. And the whole other piece, we need to marry both together. The whole other piece is our mindset, our superwoman conditioning, and how that creates the perfect storm to have feminine burnout, to have the adrenal fatigue, the hormone imbalance, and of course, issues with libido and intimacy in our relationships. If you listen to this episode and are thinking, oh my goodness, that is me, you are not alone. This pattern is more common than coming across a woman who has learned to live for herself in her pleasure and build a life that serves her without wearing her out. But we're breaking the pattern, we're ending the conditioning, and we're finding our worth because we already deserve the love, the respect, the sex, the calories, the rest, the praise that we have been trying so hard to earn. I'm continuing the conversation in an exclusive part 3. This is just for the superwomen who are serious about healing the patterns and doing the work. I know there's a lot of information out there, 1,000 people you can listen to who are going to give you different advice. In fact, I've been seeing my own work and content showing up in a lot of places from people who are not giving me credit, using my content, but not giving me credit, particularly from people who treat or work in different areas trying to move and capitalize on the movement towards liberated sex and pleasure. So to get access, visit www.thepleasurecollective.com/Superwoman Sex. I would love for you to share this episode with a friend who needs to hear it. Send it to your mom, your sister, your coworkers. Let's stop the next generation from having to unlearn all of this crap by not teaching it to them in the first place. If you are ready, take the leap and apply to work with me. www.thepleasurecollective.com/coaching. Have a great week, everybody.
If you like what you heard in this episode, leave me a rating. Your support helps me get discovered by more women like you. Together, we can change the conversation around women's sexual health and pleasure for you, your partners, and generations to come.